Live now, in case anyone has been watching, we're back live. We took a short break. Our agenda moved quite swiftly, and our next set of folks are here from the Treasurer's Office. So we're getting a presentation on Rule 25, E39 Vermont Save Program Rule, which is an amendment to the rule. So we have Becky Wasserman and Justin, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Good morning. I'm Becky Wasserman. I'm the Director of Economic Empowerment in the State Treasurer's Office.
Justin St. James, General Counsel for the Treasurer.
So we're here to talk about the Vermont Saves Program rule. The Treasurer's Office made a few changes to the rule, which was adopted in January 2025 pursuant to 3 VSA Section 531, which authorizes the Treasurer to adopt rules to the Treasurer determined are necessary and advisable for the implementation and operation of the program. For some background on Vermont Saves, it's the state's facilitated retirement program that was enacted in 2023. It currently requires all employers in the state with 5 or more employees that if they don't offer a workplace retirement plan, they must enroll their employees into the program. It is referred to as a state auto IRA program because the account that we open for employees is a Roth IRA account. So the section that establishes the programs, 3 VSA 532, says the program is explicitly intended to increase the financial security for Vermonters by providing access to an IRA for Vermont employees of companies that do not currently offer retirement savings program. Vermont Saves is currently one of 13 auto IRA programs that are active. There are 17 now, but a handful of them haven't actually started operation yet. And our program design is largely mirrored with those other state programs. In 2024, we actually joined a consortium of other state auto IRA programs led by the state of Colorado, Partnership for Dignified Retirement. And right now that the membership of that consortium is six states in total. So the proposed changes that we want to make to the rule are actually in the definitions of the rule. So the first change is to the definition of covered employee with respect to the eligibility of part-time, seasonal, and temporary employees. So statute directs the Treasurer to set requirements specifically with respect to these employees in the program. So currently the rule requires that part-time, seasonal, and temporary employees have to work more than 500 hours in a calendar year for them to be eligible in the program. What we are proposing is to remove that 500-hour requirement so that any temporary, part-time, or seasonal employee is eligible for the program regardless of the number of hours that they work. We've found that this hourly requirement is actually making it both more difficult for employers because we've received feedback that it's actually hard to kind of calculate over the course of the year whether or not somebody will be meeting that hourly requirement. And it's also just leaving a lot of folks out of the program by requiring them to work those number of hours. So what we're requiring is to remove that hourly requirement. And we think that that would expand access to the program in line with the intent of the statute. And also, we are the only state that I'm aware of that actually have that hourly requirement. So this actually puts us in line with what other states are doing. And then the second change that we're proposing is I should also mention that we did receive feedback from Legislative Council that the rule as originally drafted, the proposed change as originally drafted made it unclear whether or not part-time, seasonal, and temporary employees could still participate in the program with the change that we have proposed. So we had submitted a memo last Monday, I don't remember the date now, to the committee proposing new language to clarify that that definition of covered employees still does include reference involved for employees, we would have to be doing the hourly rate. And then the second change that we're proposing is to the definition of covered employer, which would decrease the minimum number of employees that are necessary to require an employer to register their employees into the program, and that decrease would be from 5 to 2. So as I mentioned, right now, there's a threshold that if you have 5 or more employees, as an employer, you're mandated under the law to register your business in the program and enroll those employees. And what we want to do is decrease that number to expand the program to small businesses that have 2 or more employees. I think when we originally came to the legislature with the Vermont State's proposal, there had been discussion in committee about, opening it up to a bigger number of businesses in the state. And at the time, we had wanted to start with 5 to kind of get the program up and running and be in line with some other states. But now that we're operating and things are operating efficiently, we think going down to 2 is actually more in line with the intent of the statute, which would expand access to the program. We have heard feedback from small businesses who want to enroll, but they're not able to because the mandate doesn't allow them to if they don't have 5 or more employees. So we are proposing this change in terms of how this would line us up with other states. There are a couple other states that have gone down to 1 or more employee. I know the state of Maine is also looking to decrease their threshold. So, I think this is the way these programs are moving, is to start expanding access. And I'm happy to answer any questions that you have about the program or the proposed.
I have a quick question. Going from 5 to 2, if you want to sweep in more businesses and create an opportunity for them, why not keep it at 5 as being mandatory and voluntary below that? Just provide that for those folks who do call and say, gee, I'd like to put my 2 employees in here. Why make it all mandatory?
That's a great question. And then the mandate is actually necessary so that we are not in violation of the federal ERISA law. So if you don't have that mandate, it starts to look like an employer-sponsored program, which would then make that business liable to other ERISA laws that we are not trying to impose on a small business. So sort of all the legal research in setting up these programs has said that the mandate is required for the state auto IRA programs.
And you said there's another state that's gone down to 1 or something, or there's only a handful of, right? Based on my reading, it's been 5 or 10 or more.
Yeah, I mean, they vary. There have been California, Oregon, Maine is also in the process of trying to go down. I don't know if there's one other one that's gone down. I'd have to.
Thank you. Representative Odie.
So why stop it? Why not just say if you have any employees?
What we've heard is that when there's just 1 employee, times sort of for like more burdensome or easier for that employee to just sign up for a Roth IRA. Sometimes it can be just like a single owner of a business. We do have the ability for an individual to self-enroll in our program. So that would still be possible for for that individual. It just wouldn't be done through the employer. So an individual can do it, to sign up for Vermont Savings on their own, in the same way that you can open an IRA with like Fidelity or some other institution. And so that is possible if somebody wants to do that. It's just not done through a payroll deduction through their employer. It's just done through an automatic contribution to their bank account. The reason these programs have started is because people don't do that typically. You're 5 times more likely to sign up to save for retirement if you do it through a payroll deduction for your workplace. And we are actually seeing that in our numbers right now with the program. Our self-enrolled numbers are under 40 people who have chosen to just sign up on their own. And we, in terms of funded accounts through employers, we have close to 5,400.
I'm concerned about a single employee who doesn't know that they can do this. I took the information that your office sent all the legislators and put it on Front Porch Forum, but I don't know if that person who's working where the employer isn't required. It's good to see it.
Yeah, I mean, we can continue to look at whether we can go down to that one. We are really focused on outreach this year also, just to make sure that people are aware.
Other questions? Yes, Representative.
So again, this is still an opt-out program, correct? Okay.
Right, yes, it's out.
I guess I'd just like to say, you know, I was on GovOps when we went through this process and supported it. I have since just recently received a number of emails and correspondence from small businesses asking me to oppose this, and I think rightly so, so I won't be able to support it.
Other comments, questions?
Actually, I love the program. What does it require?
Sure, so an employer, so there's a process for how we determine which employers are required to participate. We get data from the Department of Labor's Unemployment Insurance Division of all employers in the state who are registered with them. We then filter down to, right now it's 5, and we have other, in this process will be 2, and we filter down to the threshold we're looking for. And then we go through the process of filtering that number down further to see if any of those businesses have filed what's called a Form 5500 with the IRS, which would indicate that they have the 401k plan. There are other qualified workplace plans that would also exempt you from being part of the program, like a simple IRA. Those you would not file at 5,500, so this process is not perfect, but it helps us kind of filter as much through public information, filter down our list. And then we will then send out notifications to that list of employers that we believe may be eligible and required to participate. The enrollment process, we give them an access code. They have to sign up in the system and enroll their employees into the database, which requires their employees' name, address, and social security number. And then the employee will get so that process, I mean, I've seen it happen in 30 minutes. It's depends on, I think, your business size and your, I guess, comfort maybe with technology. We have a lot of businesses do this through their CPAs or payroll providers, and we are fully integrated with a number of those providers. So once they're in the system, it's like an automatic process through them that the payroll contributions happen. But so once that employee is entered in the system, they get a notification from us either through email or in the mail to say, and we send multiple notifications to say you've been enrolled in this program, you have 30 days to decide whether to opt out of the program. So it gives you the options of like, you can opt out, you can, if you do nothing, you're defaulted into the program. You can stay in the program and use our default contribution rates, or you can change and customize the rates that you want them to be. And then if they, let's say, do nothing, there's still this other 30-day period after that where we actually put any contributions. You know, the payroll cycle starts and we would put any contributions into basically like a capital, like a capital market fund where it's not invested yet, so that they they can still kind of opt out without taking it out of an investment. And then after that, an employee, there's just the payroll cycles that happen based on the payroll provider, based on the business's payroll cycle. Often, as I said, it's fully integrated, so it's just the same as how they would do their other contributions for like social security or, yeah. And then I would note, an employee can opt out, even if they're in the program, they can withdraw their funds at any time and opt out at any time.
Just, totally out of curiosity, it's how many, do most people stay in? Have a lot of opt-outs or?
We have, I don't wanna misquote it, I can get you the number, I wanna say it's around 30%, but.
30% opt-out, something.
Yeah, I can send the.
So, just want to get a sense.
Other comments, questions? We have a motion on the weeks.
I move that we approve 25P039, Office of the State Treasurer, Vermont Saves Program Rule with the change proposed by the Office of the Treasurer in the memorandum dated January 12, 2026.
We have a motion to approve the rule as submitted and by Senator Weeks. Any additional discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Right.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Okay. Next week, we have one rule, but it's not. And what's the 45J? What's that? So we have a number of weeks. And the week after next, when's the deadline for rules for that? Is it passed or is it still open?
So the deadline for February 26th meeting is February 2nd.
No, for the first meeting in February.
First meeting in February is February 5th, and
Yeah.
the deadline for that was back on January 12th.
All right, so we're already beyond that. I was trying to avoid necessarily having just one rule for the meeting. That's
Appreciate that.
Okay. Why don't we plan on not meeting next week and I'll take a look at this and see how we
Okay.
move forward. So with that, unless there's any other comments?